you had this incredible encounter
Yes.
and a year and a half of living hell.
Yes.
But what impact has this had on your life? What's changed as a result of this?
It's changed me. I try to not sweat the small stuff because honestly, almost everything in this world right here that we're on is small stuff. I have to be honest. It seems like not everything. There are big things, but a lot of it is small stuff. It really is compared to the big picture. You know? Another thing is I'm very, very funny about be careful what you say to people when you talk to them because you never know if it's the last time you're going to talk to them. I did not know. I was perfectly healthy that day. Fine. I had gone to work, so they tell me. I don't remember. I'd gone to work. I would exercise. I was getting ready to cook dinner. A normal day. And I dropped dead. No pre-warning, nothing. And this could, if it happened to me, it can happen to anybody. So I always say, be careful. Sometimes we all get in a rush or somebody irritates us and we say something kind of snappy and mean and you walk off. But what if that's the last thing you ever said to that person? I don't think it would hurt them because I don't remember anything like that in heaven that would have hurt me. But I think it hurts you as a person because it's the last thing you said to that person.
Yeah, that's
a
pretty powerful principle to live by.
So be careful what you say and take time to see it's kind of a funny story, but on the way home from the hospital, I kept looking. It was springtime because it was April. And I noticed the grass was so green and there were these beautiful flowers. And I stopped and looked. It was a 7-Eleven parking lot. How many times do we look at a 7-Eleven parking lot and think, wow, this is beautiful? I don't think I ever have in my life. But on the way home, I was like, oh my gosh, look at those flowers and how bright and green everything is. And in fact, I think I did start crying. And I was like, I don't look at how beautiful all these things are that are around me all the time. I've gone into that 7-Eleven so many times to get gas or whatever, or a cup of coffee or whatever you're getting, and I've never paid attention to anything like that. And I don't know, I feel like we overlook those things. Our house backs up to the woods, and I used to sit and just look out at the woods and think how beautiful everything is. How did all this get here? Like, it's beautiful. But we don't ever stop and just look at those and think of the beautiful things that are around us every day. It doesn't have to take a long time. I know we're busy, but sometimes just take some time for you and de-stress and realize what's around you and how lucky we are.
Yeah. So not only that, but did anything change in your relationship with God?
Yes. Yes, it has changed my relationship with God. God's my best friend. I don't know how else to put it. I always hope before dinner stuff people don't ask me to pray because I don't pray beautifully. It doesn't sound good. I don't know what to say, but I talk to God all the time. He's always with me. He's my best friend. I feel like he knows what without me even telling. He knows what's right. A lot of times I just pray, say, God, whatever's right, please do it, because I don't know what's right. I mean, sometimes we pray that someone will get better. Maybe it's not right for them to get. Maybe it's time for them to go. I don't know what's right. I don't know. I just pray that maybe keep them comfortable in whatever he thinks is right. That's what happens because I don't know what's right.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, it's funny, everybody's like, well, I can't believe such and such did this or that. But I feel like it's not our place to judge that. Sometimes it takes a little pressure off you if you realize you don't have to judge that. I'm not the judge of that. I can't decide if it's right or wrong. I can't decide that's for God, not for me.
Yeah.
But he's always with me, and it's nice to just talk to him. Sometimes I feel like maybe he enjoys that. It's just like a friend,
Yes, I do.
Just to talk to him.
That's right. Now, what about people who are hearing this story? We're telling the story for a reason.
Yes,
because there are a lot of people who are afraid to die.
There are.
There are a lot of people who've lost loved ones too soon.
Yes.
We all have, right?
Yes.
I think one of the main reasons we're telling this story is to help people.
It is.
And what do you think your advice to people listening would be, having come through this experience?
I think my advice is realize that there is a better place than this, and that when we lose someone to that place, when people go to heaven, wherever I was, it's a beautiful place to be. I don't think we need to worry about them. And it's funny because even as a mom, sometimes I feel pity for people who are younger who left their children. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine leaving my kids. Like but they're not feeling that. So if that makes you feel a little better, at least your loved one is not feeling that pain or that missing or that void. We are, but they don't. And I think just the world sometimes, there's not a lot of kindness and love in the world right now. I feel, there is a lot of kindness and love. Actually, I'm going to go back because there is. Unfortunately, we see a lot of the bad and the mean and the not kind. And I think we need to stop and focus more on the good things that we all have. We all have bad things. We all have hard things. We've all gone through things. We've all made bad choices. We've all done wrong, every one of us. But I think we need to focus on the good and the kind and help each other and build each other up and support each other. Instead of
7-Eleven.
Even at 7-Eleven, exactly. There's one story, it was kind of funny. They did an article on me after my first cardiac arrest, and I think it was in the Chesapeake Clipper. It might have been in I think it was Chesapeake Paper, but I'm not positive on that. It was a while back. But they did a story, and they interviewed me. And I went out, and I got the paper because it was supposed to be out that day, and it had a cardiac arrest story. I was like, oh, my gosh. And so I opened it up, and I started reading it. Well, it wasn't me. It was another girl who was probably a little bit younger than me. And I apologize if I get this story wrong if someone knows this story, but I know she was teaching Sunday school, if I remember correctly, and I think she collapsed while she was teaching Sunday school somewhere here locally in full cardiac arrest. They tried to save her. They did not. And she left. She died. And she had young children, husband, everything, active in a church, supposedly a wonderful, wonderful girl. I sat there and cried and cried and cried and cried. The next week, my story came out. But it was hard, and I struggled with that for a while because I was like, why was I the lucky one who got to come back and she wasn't? Like, what is the difference? And it really bothered me. And then I started thinking, and I said, I think I'm confused. I think she's the lucky one and I'm not. And I mean that. Not that she left her children. I'm not saying that because I'm sure her family struggles. I can't even imagine. But I think that she's the lucky one who got to stay. And I came back. And I don't know the reason. I can't explain that. I mean, that's a question when I die to ask God sometimes. Maybe for whatever reason, it wasn't my time yet. That's just all I know. But I struggled with that for a while because a lot of people don't make it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think that's a really good way to put it because we do have all this in my family and your family and everyone's family.
Yes.
There's someone who doesn't make it.
Oh, yes.
And it is difficult to say things like they're in a better place when you've got children who are grieving their parent.
Yes. And you feel like that's kind of a cliche. That's what you say to everybody, but do you mean that?
Or a spouse of 60 years.
Exactly.
Or when a parent loses a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's one thing to say, well, they're in a better place, and another to simply know that they are.
They are.
And to love the people who are grieving.
Yes. And they are in a better place. Sometimes when I go to funerals, especially when they're older and it's time to go, the young ones it's still hard because you hate to see what the family's going through.
Exactly.
You hate that. But when they're older, sometimes it's almost a blessing. It's a good thing. They're healthy. That's one thing I can promise people. They're healthy. They're strong. They're happy. They're living the life they always wanted to.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's important is to remember we don't need to feel sorry for them. If anything, we need to be happy for them, and we'll be with them soon.
Yeah. So you brought something with you. What did you bring?
I brought a journal that my sister gave me when I was in the ICU. I honestly don't really remember it, but I have it, so obviously I wrote it. There's a little note from my sister at the beginning, but then afterwards it talks about what I experienced when I died. And my family and friends have read it. It's only, 3-4 pages long. But it kind of is just a brief synopsis of what happened. And it's funny to me to look back and read it because I don't remember writing this at all. Also, people that know me, I tend to have very nice handwriting. I print really pretty. Like I always get compliments on my handwriting. This is not pretty at all. But so you can tell it's kind of scribbled on there. But this is something, sometimes I even open it up and just read it. It makes me happy. As weird as that may sound, but it does. It makes me happy to read and to remember it. I always remember it. I can't say to remember, but just like what happened right at that moment. And I've had a lot, sometimes my family will just read it. And so it's just a little journal of what happened. I don't have a lot of pictures back then. We didn't have smartphones. We had flip phones and, but I do have my journal that I wrote in, so I did bring that to share also.
So when you wrote in the journal, when did you tell them what you saw? Do you know?
I don't know.
So at some point while you were in the hospital,
I
at a
guess
time
I
you don't
did.
even remember, you told them something that prompted her to give you this journal.
I told everybody, I guess. I know I don't remember, but they told me a chaplain came in to hear my story. A couple chaplains at the hospital came in and talked to me. I don't remember talking to them. I couldn't tell you what they looked like. I don't know if they were male or female. I don't remember any of it. But I guess I shared the story with them. And they said that in the emergency room, like right when I came back, when I was in the emergency room, I kept saying that I saw God. I kept saying, I don't remember seeing God. I don't remember, I couldn't tell you what he looked like or anything like that. But I kept saying that. I don't know if I was saying that meaning I went to heaven. I'm not sure what I meant by that, to be honest. I can't lie. So I don't know. I didn't see God like say, oh, this is what it was. This is who he looked like. I didn't see that, but I felt a presence, if that
Maybe you
makes
felt
sense.
God.
Yes, I think I felt a presence more than saw. I don't know if we see, I can't answer questions. I don't know if we see him or not when we died, but wherever I was, I would be happy to go there the rest of my life.
That's awesome.
And stay there.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I don't know. So, but this is my journal that kind of tells a little bit about what I remember back when they were telling me what happened, and I was trying to put everything together. It took a long time.
But what you experienced is still here.
Oh, very
like
clearly.
That's the one thing that
So
you remember clear, but you don't even remember writing it down in the book.
I don't remember the
amazing.
first probably 3 or 4 days in ICU at all.
Wow.
I do remember bits and pieces of the end of ICU care, but nothing. I couldn't tell you details by any means, but I can tell you what I experienced from day one. And it's funny, they said my story has never changed from when I was in the emergency room. I don't even remember being in the emergency room. I have zero recollection whatsoever of being in the emergency room. And they said my story has never changed. Like I always tell the exact same thing. But I remember it clear as day.
Yeah. Wow.
But I don't remember much else.
That's cool. Well, thanks for bringing that in.
Of course.
Death can be scary to think about. Not many of us really look forward to going through that process, and none of us are ever happy to have to say goodbye to the ones we love. The reason we're telling Tawnya's story is not just to give you one more example of someone who got to glimpse at heaven, but most importantly, to share how her experience, getting to see what life is beyond this one, is to know how it changed her life. The question is, how will it change yours?